Welcome to the latest edition of Lunchtime Learning. I'm absolutely delighted to be joined today by the inspirational, the incredible, the lovely Naomi Webborn from Dawsons Estate Agents in Swansea. Naomi, thank you for joining me today. I'm really grateful. I have the pleasure of meeting you, I think, was it 2-3 years ago?
Yeah, I think it was, yeah.
Didn't know who you were. Didn't know what you did, and then I found out what exactly you do, and you're the most incredible lady, and I'm so pleased that you've agreed to come onto the podcast to share exactly why you are inspirational, why you've been nominated and won loads of awards at the Relocation Agent Network, the Agents Giving Awards, for all the amazing charity and community work that you do, not just for your company, Dawsons, but also personally. So I know you've got some stuff close to your heart. So Naomi, welcome. I tell you what, most people don't get a welcome like that. So it's all true. So tell us, how did you get into agency in the first place? And then tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do at Dawsons.
Wow. So I started off in school when you do your 2 weeks work experience somewhere. I did my 2 weeks work experience in a local estate agent. Unbeknown, that was the actual first office that I started in when I started my estate agency career 20 years ago. And then when I was in Bristol studying business studies, my driving instructor used to say to me when I'd be driving around, he'd teach me all the different house styles and the windows, different eras. And he used to say, right, out of estate agency mode, now into driving mode. So then when I moved back to Swansea, started a job then in a local estate agent, like I say, 20 years ago in sales. It was the same place as I'd done my work experience. And it's just kind of gone from there, really. I started in sales, then moved to lettings, did all of my exams, then went to run on my own, manage around 50 properties for a local charity, a housing charity called the Wallet, which I know is obviously an all Wales charity for homeless, preventing homelessness. And then that kind of opened my eyes a bit more. Then I had George. I felt the pressure of managing that much on my own might be too much. So put my hand up and said, please give me a job, Dawsons. And here I am.
Lovely. So, Scott, that was young, decided to go,
Yeah.
But why agency? Why was your first work experience in the estate agency? And why was your driving instructor teaching you all about properties?
I don't know. It's obviously been part of me. It's not like my family background is pubs, hospitality. So for me, it was real different, I guess, it's just obviously part of me. I've just had it in me without even realizing it. I tried pubs. I got my assistant manager post, nearly got my own pub, and then jacked it all in and came here.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So what lessons have you learned along the way from where you were started to where you are today? What would be two of the three of the main things?
Wowzers. I think speaking up is a real strong one for me. And really, I think as a life lesson, speak up if you're unhappy or you're not fulfilled. Definitely speak up. I think when I was downstairs, so front of house, admin neg, the day-to-day grind, the day-to-dayness of the job, I was kind of feeling like I needed more. I needed to fulfill more of my day. I'm always that person. I don't sit still, as everyone knows. My days are full, and if I have nothing on the plate, I can't cope. I have to have like a million things going on at any given time. So I used to nag Chris, Hope and Ricky, please give me something else to do. Please give me something else to do. So I'd nag and nag and nag to the point that they'd be like, okay, just give us something else to do. So I'd end up doing a bit more. And that's kind of how I slipped into my role now in marketing, and being more behind the scenes rather than customer facing, just because I'd start to get into those jobs, those tasks, those projects, and obviously really enjoy them. And hopefully I'm doing a good enough job that they made my job.
You are doing an incredible job. So you talk about George, and I know the amount of community work that you do, and we come on to that in a bit. But how do you manage your time with your children? And I know it's not just this from memory. You're a guide leader as well. You do loads of charity work. You work. How do you manage your time? What tips can you give to people that are watching this?
Don't be me. No, I do. I've been a scout leader again since I moved back to Swansea to give something back, because I always felt when I was an explorer, those leaders who gave their time for us to have fun, basically, I always felt like I would give back. So when I moved back to Swansea, and my scout leader said, we're bringing girls into scouts, which again, some people still don't know. There's girls in scouts, girls can join scouts. Can I go and be a female leader? I still get to do all the gorge walking, all the fun stuff, all the abseiling. And I was like, yeah, why not? And then again, 20 years later, here I am as a Beaver Leader, which makes everybody laugh, but it's the younger children. Mainly the move was because when I had George, obviously he needed to have me around him. So yeah, I moved to that. I also do all the charity stuff. I guess managing my time, it's just kind of I can never say the word, decompartmentalize. So separating it all. So when I'm in the office, I am me, I am Dawsons, I'm Training Wales, I am all things that we do. When I'm at home, I'm mum to the 3 little ones. And then in between, it's anything else I can fit in. So get the kids to bed and then sit and do probably my charity admin and all of those things that I need to do. So wow. It's a busy life. I don't sleep very much.
That is fair enough. So tell us a little bit about George, if you don't mind, and what you've been through with George, and again what you've done to help people in a similar situation to George.
Yeah, so George was born with a really rare condition called TOF. It's now OA TOF because there's a heart condition called TOFs. It was only picked out at birth. So after he was born, I was out cold. They took him to Skaboo and realised that soon the food wasn't going down. It was just looping. So basically, it's being born unable to swallow. So whereas you and I, our bodies, we would swallow, it goes straight from our mouths down our feeding tube, our esophagus, down to our tummies. For George, there was a gap. So it would then, where that gap was, there was no link to the tummy, so it was just looping back out of his nose, and also it was attached to his trachea, so his breathing tube, so he was aspirating. So basically for life he had to have an immediate operation, so he's transferred to Cardiff, and then they stretched, it's called a stretch, and then he has like frequent dilatation, so they put a balloon in his throat basically and blow it up in the hope that it stays open. But a lot of people again don't realise, but your throat is full of muscles. So much like a snake, if would swallow something, it kind of moves like the muscles push it down. George doesn't have those muscles in a certain point, so food just gets stuck. And where the repair site is, it's really weak and thin. So where we get colds and coughs and things, George would really struggle with breathing because his pipes are so thin. And obviously they're a repair site, so they're prone to infection, they're prone to inflammation, so he's also prone to reflux. He takes a lot of reflux medication, but sometimes it doesn't always work, so the repair site will bleed and then blood will sit in his tummy and then he gets quite sick. He often has breathing difficulties in the middle of the night. We've been rushed by ambulance. So first 5 years of George's life was highly entertaining, and I think as a parent with a child with needs, you just get on, you don't really think about it, the momentum just takes over and you just go and you just do what's needed. I'm sure that's any parent, whatever the adrenaline goes, and you just move. So then when George was about 6, once we'd had Emily, they kept saying, there's a charity that can support you. So we reached out to the charity, which is called TOFs. And now I am a local contact. So anyone in South Wales that's born with the condition, the hospitals, effectively, in an amazing world, the hospitals will refer them to me, and then I can support them and put them in touch with the charity and what needs and what support we can give. And I've also got myself somehow, thanks to Dawsons, in the world of, I'm in a working group for rare diseases in Wales, which has only recently come about. So I can help make that change. So for George, he is going to transition from paediatric care to adult care in the next 3 to 4 years. And at which point, a lot of the time, the care just drops. It doesn't continue. It's just because there's no process. So we're working together as a collaborative with the genetics and across board government, hospitals, NHS, to try and make a pathway of care for anybody with a rare disease. So it affects everyone. And somebody said to me in the working group, actually, Mike Hedges, local MP, said, rare diseases alone are rare, but if you put them all together, it's actually 1 in 17 of us have a rare disease. And there's no budget in the NHS. There's no budget with the government for rare diseases. So it's raising awareness basically for the whole of the rare disease community. So it's a big task.
It is, and I know you do it amazingly well. So there's going to be people like watching this, listening to this, and thank you for sharing the really personal stuff. I really appreciate it. And I'm sure there's loads of people, as I said, that are watching this, listening to this, that can empathise and sympathise with you. How do you have the strength and how do you cope? Because there's a lot of people that may be struggling on the outs, or maybe look fine on the outside, but really struggling on the inside. And just to hear your strength, how you managed to get through it, is incredible. How did you manage to cope?
I think on a wing and a prayer sometimes. I think your adrenaline takes over, and it's just remembering that one of my best friends always says to me, we're just a grain of sand in the big beach. You know, the beach is full of millions and billions of grains of sand, and we are just one tiny grain, and there are always people worse off than us. And I remember George's first operation, not his life-saving one, the second operation, the first hospital admission operation. There was a boy next to us who had, he had no intestines. They were building them for him. And it was like, for them, a massive series of operations. It was horrific. And I just remember being like, we could be that person. George is so much better off than that person. Like, there's always someone worse off. And I think that kind of carries me through. And I try and be, as Ricky says, I'm glass half full. So I try and be the glass half full, the positive person. I try and be the sunshine rather than the gloom and doom. So I think, yeah, just pushing forward and trying to be as positive as I physically can. And especially for George, because he deals with things mentally as well. You know, don't get me wrong, like everyone, we all fall down. I've had my moments. I've had my struggles. I've been offered several medications by the doctors, but I won't take them. I just know that I can, with self-help, with books, with, you know, I have had counselling sessions, those kind of things. And I think a lot of having toffs there and dealing with all life struggles, you know, there's PTSD for everybody in many different ways. So it's just pushing on through. And I am lucky, really lucky, you know, Ricky, Chris, Tim, they all support me massively. When I'm having my days, they look after me. And my best friends, you know, I've had the same best friends in school. We've been through thick and thin together. So I think having that support network. So yeah, support network, positive mental outlook, and just knowing that if you've got a down day, feel those emotions and just go with them, because you can't hide them. I often cry.
Thank you for your honesty.
Okay.
I really appreciate it. And I know people watching this will get loads and loads from what you've just said. So thank you. The amazing community work. So let's talk about the marketing, and let's talk about all the community work that you do in Wales and Swansea and locally. So how did that all evolve, and why do you think community work is so important?
I think, again, because of me and the nature of me, like, I love houses, I love, obviously, teamwork, I love the whole ethos of a state agency, and then being able to do the charity stuff that I do outside of work, inside of work, and just really building the company as a brand in terms of our community and our charity links. It's so rewarding. Like every day is it is fun, and everyone probably thinks I have a dream job, and I do in many ways, that I get to have fun, but it's hard work too. It's, pushing and making sure that we're linking with the right people, we're helping the right people. And I think for us, the community, the schools, the children, they're the estate agents of the future, and for them to understand what an estate agent is and how proud we should be as estate agents, because we get a lot of bad press, and do you know what, it's a hard job, and it's not a job for everyone. And I think if we can promote estate agency to the world, to the youth of today, and if we can help along the way the charities that we encounter, anybody really, we get calls all the time for, can you support, can you sponsor, can you do this, can you do that? And obviously we'd love to help everybody, but it's impossible. The money pot doesn't grow on a tree. It's got to stop somewhere. And Tim tells me that all the time. I can't keep spending money. I think I spend the most out of the whole company between merchandise and sponsorship and things. So I spend the most, but I'm sure hopefully that somehow I help make some. But yeah, it's just really pushing. And when something really grabs you, like you see a charity, like at the moment, obviously Morgan's Army is huge here in Swansea. And we supported Morgan's Army for quite some time. But again, you can see what good it's doing. So I think when you can see the good that something's doing, to be able to support that, and not just, put money into things, but raising awareness and actually giving that physical support as well. Like today, we're supporting Action for Elders, Wear Orange. So the team in Dawsons are wearing orange for the day and donating some money. But it's not just about that wearing orange for the day. It's about how we then use our social media channels to promote Action for Elders and promote the good work that they do. They're supporting the elderly. So whilst we're promoting to the young, the estate agency world, we're also supporting the elderly as well and making their lives hopefully a better place. So it's a wide spectrum.
It is. I think we had Silver Week in Barnet a couple of weeks ago, and I ended up playing walking football with an 88-year-old who did score on that day, and it was his 88th birthday last week, and we had some counsellors down as well. And I know in a couple of weeks' time I'm at an over 55s fair as well, which is all about helping them understand that there's stuff outside. So to play with an 84-year-old and an 88-year-old, it's actually an honour to be on the pitch with these people. It's amazing. It's amazing what people can still do. And I just want to thank you as well for getting involved with Marcus for Mindfulness. Incredibly grateful, because obviously that's very close to my heart, and what Adriana and especially Daniel are doing is absolutely incredible. So a massive shout out to them. And again, anybody watching this, if you do have any unwanted stationery wherever in the UK, please get in contact with me, because we would love to distribute it to schools who are in dire need, and then we can then help provide wellbeing provisions for the kids as well, which is much needed with everything that's sadly going on in the world today. So
awesome.
Thank you for that. Tell us a little bit about Dawson's training and what's all that about. The training for Wales.
Dawson's training, we used a company to do our in-house training. Basically, when you rent property in Wales, when you manage property in Wales, you have to be licensed. This came about in 2016 by Rent Smart Wales. So anyone who deals with property rentals in Wales will understand that you have to be licensed with Rent Smart Wales. And in order to obtain your license, you have to undergo training. And that license only lasts 5 years. So you have to do the initial training, and then you have to continue with your CPD and your training for when you apply for your renewal license. So we were using a company in Dawsons. We'd purchased it online. I would sit with the person in-house and talk them through it, give examples. So pretty much do the course, assist in that. And then leave them to do their end of course exam, obviously. And then we decided to take that business, and remarket it and rebrand it and do it all ourselves. So Training Wales was born in 2018. We built the website, we rewrote the course, obviously got the Rent Smart Wales approval, and then it became Kate and I's baby. Kate is the day-to-dayness of it. She deals with all the nitty-gritty bits. I tend to try and be the promotional person, and also obviously the marketing and things and the general inquiries, and then Ricky oversees it as a whole. So we have grand plans for Dawsons Training Wales, but it's just we're tied between Dawsons and Dawsons Training Wales, so finding the time to promote it as much as we can hasn't always come as we'd hoped, but all the same, it is flourishing. It's doing very well. We have some awards, which we were excited to receive, and hopefully more to come. But yeah, it's just, it keeps us on the ball and it keeps us up to date with legislation ourselves, because no one query is the same. Everyone needs that assistance. So, and I think because Rent Smart Wales is the governing body, a lot of people, and we're the first on their list, I think, of trainers. So we got a lot of phone calls when the new legislation when renting homes kicked in last year. We had a lot of inquiries. We were taking call by call every day. So we're kind of the go-to people if you've got any Rent Smart Wales queries, I think, here in Swansea. And also handy to have in-house for the team here at Dawsons as well.
Okay, lovely, 100%. So you're also regional ambassador for Agents Giving. Why did you get involved with Agents Giving?
Again, I think my life seems to be charity, giving back. As I said, I always want to be able to give back. And I think my thing is, I want to be, when I go, whenever that will be, hopefully I'll be super old, I want to have made a difference. I want to have made a change. I wanted to have kind of a legacy, just that I know that I've done good. I know that I've done my best that I physically can for everyone that I physically can. And so when Agents Giving came about, obviously with the role I do here, we started to link up with Agents Giving, and then obviously to be asked to be the regional ambassador was amazing. Again, there's lots more in the pipeline, hopefully with other local agents as well, not just Dawsons. So if Dawsons can bring Agents Giving to Swansea and get other agents doing what we do, then even better. Then it just means we'll help more. And like Marcus for Mindfulness, desperately need to get more involved in that here in Swansea, bring it as much as we can. So yeah, I think it's just, again, just the giving back and being able to be part of that wider network. Like, I love obviously meeting with all the other agents all around the country and seeing what everyone's getting up to. And it's just a really nice network to be part of, because it's the people that care, the people who give back, again, changing the perception of estate agency, making people realise that we don't just do property every day, we do everything else outside of it. And I think really highlighting that to everyone else is important as well, isn't it?
Brilliant. So somebody's asked me, what do you do in your spare time then, and look after you? How do you look after yourself? What are you
spare time?
Yeah, what are you?
I don't have any spare time.
What are you doing for yourself?
Oh, so I was in a running club for a while, and that was my headspace. That was my shutdown. I'm just running, don't talk to me. And I have actually just signed myself up to do a 10k, which is not much to some people, but to me, I haven't run for a while, so to do 5k is a puff at the minute. But I signed myself up for a 10k in May for Morgan's Army, so I'm running for charity. And so I guess, yeah, running, being with my best friends, because it's like being a child again. We get together and we laugh and we joke, and booking, having something to look forward to. You said about what do I do for myself, how do I keep myself sane, having things to look forward to. So me and the girls will take ourselves away for a night away somewhere, a little spa weekend, and also obviously the work events that we go to, whilst it's work and it's networking, it's me time. It's about me. So it's nice. Like, I get to meet lovely people like you and sit and talk. So yeah, that's kind of what I do for me. I take moments. I've got an Apple Watch. I do my reflect. Sometimes when I feel like I'm a bit overwhelmed and I can't breathe, because I'm also menopausal, which is joyous. So yeah, I take moments and I breathe and I just read. I don't get much of an opportunity to read, I'll be truly honest. And I lose myself in TikTok. TikTok is evil. But yeah, so that's what I do for me.
Good. Well, look, I'm really grateful for your time. Thank you. Keep on inspiring. Keep on doing what you're doing. You're a most amazing lady. So well done. If people want to get hold of you, how do they do that, please?
So my Dawsons email, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Twitter, it's X now, isn't it? I'm on Threads. But my Dawsons email, just naomi.webborn@dawsonsproperty.co.uk. Or just ring me. My number's on everything.
Fantastic. Look, thank you for being a wonderful guest.
Thank you.
I look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you. You too, Stephen.
Cheers. Thank you, everybody, for watching and listening. Please like it, share it. Let's get the message out. What an incredible lady person Naomi is, because she really is. Thank you. Bye.